This is James Fox doing the first Pentacast from Mr. Simpson's class. First of all, let's read out the questions and see what we can gather from it. Little Timmy, mass 50 kilograms, accelerates from rest to some final velocity. He does this in a distance of 15 meters. His acceleration is due to a dog pulling on a rope which is attached to Little Timmy. The dog pulls with a constant force of 400 newtons. Little Timmy experiences the force of friction on a flat surface with a coefficient of friction equal to 0.5. So, what is Little Timmy's final velocity? So, from this question we can gather a few things. The first being that Little Timmy's mass is equal to 50 kilograms. The second, that he starts at rest so that his initial velocity is 0 meters per second. The coefficient of friction is equal to 0.5. And the dog is pulling with a force of 400 newtons. In addition, we know that Little Timmy does this for about 15 meters, so we have the distance as well, which would be equivalent to x for displacement, as this isn't going from left to right or back to forth in a total number. So, the first thing we're going to want to do is set up a free body diagram of Little Timmy himself. We're going to set it up so that the bottom, or the force acting downwards, is mg, which would be equivalent to 500 newtons, as g is equal to 10 for the sake of this problem. And the reaction force, Newton's third law, would be equivalent to 500 newtons. Now, we know that the dog is pulling with a force of 400 newtons towards the left, we'll say. While the friction coefficient reacts with the reaction force to subtract from that overall net force. Mu times 500, with mu being 0.5, would equal 250 newtons. Now, according to Newton's second law, the net amount of force equals mass times acceleration. And with acceleration, we can find the total velocity through the use of the Sauvat equation. So, 400 being pulled to the right minus 250 pulled to the left, the friction mathematics, equals 150 newtons to the right. Now, let's set this up so that, as you can see here, 150 newtons equals 50 kilograms, Little Timmy's weight, times acceleration, as you can see here. Now, divide the force by the mass to get acceleration. And acceleration will be equivalent to 3 meters per second squared, as you can see here. Now that we have the acceleration, the distance, and the initial velocity, we can find final velocity. With v squared being equivalent to u, the initial velocity, plus 2as, we can now add in what we know. U squared is 0, so v squared equals 0 plus 2, 3 times 3 for a, times 15 for s, the distance, as you can see here. Adding all that up, you would initially get 90 meters per second. However, the equation sets it so that the final velocity is actually being squared as well. So to find the total velocity, we simply square root it. V squared equals 90. Square root of that. V equals 9.486. And there's your total max velocity for little Timmy.